And I just want to welcome you again. For everyone coming into the room right now, we are so excited that you're here with us today. Thank you for deciding to spend the next 30 to 45 minutes with us and our speaker today. So welcome. Okay, Verlinda, I'm ready for you to move to the next slide as I introduce our speaker for today. Hang on, it's a disclaimer. Okay, I'm gonna give you just a second to read the disclaimer on the slides. This is stating that an online degree from Ashford University does not lead to immediate teacher licensure. So I'm gonna give you just a few seconds to read over this. If you've been here more than once, you've seen this several times. This will also be part of the recording. Okay, Verlinda, you can move to the next slide. And this disclaimer states that Ashford University has websites and links, but anything in this presentation, they are not responsible for. So I'll give you just a few seconds to go ahead and look over this one. All right, and I think it's time for us to go ahead and get started. All right, I'm so excited to announce our next presenter. We have been working together for a few weeks now, getting this ready. And our presenter today is Verlinda Ruble, and she holds a master's in curriculum and instruction with an emphasis on computer education, which means that this degree was designed to teach adult learners in an online environment. She also holds a bachelor's in special education and a second bachelor's in psychology, focusing on child development. She earned an associate's in liberal arts with an emphasis on education. Verlinda is an adjunct here at Ashford University in the early childhood department. She began her career in the Head Start community in 1986. Since that time, she has taught a variety of environments. She worked her way up from special service aide to paraprofessional to a special ed teacher in the public school system. Throughout her career, Verlinda's students' learning has become one of her greatest concerns. She's taught students on the autism spectrum, students with physical and cognitive disabilities, Down syndrome, Williams syndrome, traumatic brain injury, and students with language delays and learning disabilities and hearing impairments. And Verlinda, we are so excited that you're here with us today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Tisha. So as you can see, we're going to first start talking about circle time and show and tell. And we'll be looking into the interests of the children and talking about how we can convey feelings of respect and affection. We'll also talk about building their vocabularies and their receptive language skills, which is always larger than their expressive language skills, and how to build phonemic awareness. And we do have, oh goodness, a little technical problem over on this side. We do have some ideas that I hope that you aren't familiar with, and that will inspire you to even do more and be more creative. And please, if you think of anything, you have questions, go ahead and post them in the chat box, and Dr. Tisha will take those and we'll go over them at the end. So let's begin with circle time. This is an opportunity to review previous learning and help children express themselves in conversations. Young children that have conversations built into their day are much more likely to feel that their ideas and interests are valuable and worth pursuing. It's important when we're talking to children that we make eye contact and that we actively listen to what they're saying, even if they have trouble getting those words out. Let's imagine, if you will, gathering all the children to circle time. All of these bright, expectant faces are looking towards you, the teacher, for further direction. Many of you take a few moments each morning to greet the children. And at that time, I would encourage that you ask if they had brought anything from home to share. And this is an important time in which you get to personalize the day with a smile for each child. Some may think about circle time as an opportunity to only impart information to the children, but it's so much more. How can conversation be built into this part of the day? This is a time to address the goals in making eye contact and holding two-way conversations during greetings. Some of our children with disabilities have difficulties with this. And we may also sing songs to help children learn the alphabet, help them learn the numbers, the days of the week, or the days of the, or the, excuse me, the names of the month. Children will be given pattern recognition exercises as we closely look at the calendar for those patterns. And I also like to use show and tell to build the child's conversation skills. Now, if you notice, I had mentioned that as they walked through the door to see if they brought an item from home to share. In many of my positions in working in Title I schools and working with children who were impoverished, I found that this wasn't always the case, that many children did not have anything to share, and this often led to some behaviors. So I came up with the idea to use phonemic awareness bags. And I would go and I would find things in my children's toy boxes, in the stores, um, even looking in the kitchen for objects that the children might like. Let's say that we're starting with the letter B, so I would find things or purchase things like stuffed bears, a plastic bee, a ball, a baseball card, a toy barn, a book about bears, a brown crayon, a black crayon, a blue crayon, a toy boat, a basket, play foods like butter and biscuits, and other objects that would be. And the sky's the limit. Whatever you can think of to put in your bags for your phonemic awareness, and but you do want to think about their developmental abilities and make sure that the things you put in there are safe. Oh, I love that idea. A letter detective versus Sherlock Holmes. That's a great idea. Some of my children were unable to talk due to their disability. So those children would be given encouragement to find something in the room that matched. And that way they were able to participate and show that they had something that started with the letter B. As you can see, the time spent in circle time and show and tell offered the students an opportunity to take part in a two-way conversation where the children gained confidence and trust in their own abilities in expressing their ideas and feelings. Children began to have not only a stronger vocabulary, but began to build their expressive language skills as they too took part in the conversation. As part of circle time, we also had anticipatory sets and thematic units. And as you see from this chart, there are lots of advantages to having an anticipatory set. We can help the children to access prior knowledge, help them grab their interests, help them transfer their learning, and lead to learning objectives. And it also involves all of our students. So at the end of show and tell, it's my turn to share what was in my bag. And this was my anticipatory set. Sometimes it was a scarf or an apron with a bear on it. The children would typically make the connection to the letter B, and the anticipatory set grabbed their students to want to learn more. The anticipatory set also allows children the opportunity to transfer learning and leads to learning objectives that I have set for the thematic unit. The anticipatory set also has allowed the children to access their prior knowledge. Every student can take part in a conversation and discuss what they know about bears in this open discussion. To organize the conversation, I move on to the KWHL chart, and the first question is, what do I already know? And this ties in neatly with the conversation. Let's look at the KWHL chart on the next slide. And here we see that the first question we've already discussed. However, we need to go further, and under W, we ask the children, what do they want to know? And by the way, you can put this chart in your room and leave it on a board or on a bulletin board. You can even place it. Children may want to know more about how a bear can sleep for the entire winter. They may want to know if all bears hibernate, and this can be a fun way to build a unit and ensure that you are building the unit based on the children's interest and their curiosity, based on what questions they ask and what they tell you they already know. As you work to facilitate learning, the next question is, how do I find out? And this is a question that is so relevant for today. It seems like information is just at our fingertips, and we want to make sure that our children have access to the internet, but that we monitor those accesses for safety. We also want to explore books, both nonfiction and fiction, documentaries, short videos, real life experiences such as zoos or going outside. In fact, I would introduce a book to the children at this time. There's so many favorite books to share that will help children gain in literacy and reading skills. Before beginning this story, we want to introduce any new vocabulary and review any previous vocabulary learned. When reading to the children, it's imperative to build a child's skills of prediction by asking, what do you think will happen next? And then they're more eager to listen to. Discuss the characters, the setting, and the plot of the book with the children. And as you read the book, bring the children back to the question, how can we find out more about bears? I think this is a perfect opening to the learning stations or learning centers that are located around the room. And then we would transition to the learning centers with a song like, We're Going on a Bear Hunt. Here we see the learning stations or centers. You can use either word interchangeably. The learning centers that are located around the classroom can be used to explore the thematic unit more deeply. For example, in the block center, you can bring in some toy animals and they can create a zoo for the bears. In the dramatic play center, you can engage the children about learning how a zookeeper might tend to the bears at the zoo, and you can bring in some veterinarian equipment for them to play with, some stuffed animals, and you can set up a little zookeeper area. In the computer center, you can use that to play games associated with the letter B. The puppet center can be used to reenact a story about bears. Maybe they've picked one that's their favorite and they can act out with those puppets. The library center can be stocked with fiction and nonfiction books about bears, and it can have picture books, easy to read books, and audio books. The manipulative center could focus on counting activities involving bears, and the writing center can be used to practice writing the letter B or writing a letter to authors of the Berenstain Bear series. Many children love those and have those books in their home, hopefully. And the art center can be used to create an awareness of colors that start with the letter B, such as blue or brown or black. And the science center can be used to explore the hibernation of bears. The cooking center could be used to create a snack that looks like a bear's face. And as you can see, these learning experiences will provide the children much to discuss at the end of the day about what they have learned. On this slide, you'll see a Venn diagram, and here we can learn skills in comparing what is different, what is the same. For instance, during the week of the thematic unit, you'll want to help children learn the differences between bears and other animals. Here we have a duck. One way that this could occur is if you created this Venn diagram. For pre-emergent readers, I also like to use pictures, as you see here. Using colored sticky notes for the children also helps them decide where the answer goes on the diagram. For example, purple would be where the two circles intersect, so that there would be an answer that fits both the bear and the duck, like both the bear and the duck eat fish. A bear sleeps in a cave, but only a duck can fly. And the children can tell you what color sticky note that they need and talk to you about where it goes on the chart before you write the word. Ideally, I would color the circles the same color as the sticky notes so that the younger students would have additional assistance with a visual reminder of where to put those sticky notes. And at the end of class, we would summarize what we know about the things that both the bear and the duck have in common. Then we would discuss the differences in each animal. The visual would be something that the students could refer to take on their own, and students could even try making a Venn diagram of their own to take home to share with their parents. On the next slide, we have another chart, and this is a T-chart. So at the end of the Venn diagram lesson, we summarize what we know about the things that both the bear and the duck have in common. Then we discuss the differences in each animal. In this graphic organizer, we will discuss our findings about the differences in bears. And I would begin this activity by reading a book that had the facts about the weight of baby bears. Interesting enough, baby bears weigh about 1 to 2 pounds, depending on its species. Isn't that amazing? They are such large animals when they grow. Then I would bring in a scale of different sized baby dolls and stuffed bears to compare our findings. And we could even label the different bears and doll babies with their weight for a practical example. For example, what if we wanted to determine which one weighs more than the other? We know that the weight of a baby brown bear is about 1 to 2 pounds. And as a teacher, I would have already sent home a letter asking the parents to participate and write down the child's birth weight. Then a comparison between the two would be made, and the children would put their paper clip to indicate who weighed the most. As we see, all the clothespins would be on the right, that a baby human weighs more than a baby bear. Just think about all the overlapping domains that are being developed in this activity. While this is not an open-ended question, it is one that allows the children to learn about comparison, weights, and even the use of fine motor skills to make their selection on the T-chart. And then we're back to our Venn diagram, our KWHL chart. And the presentation has just demonstrated how much fun can be used during circle time, where we look at show and tell, phonemic awareness bags, anticipatory sets, Venn diagrams, T-charts, learning stations or centers, and story time. Along the way, we've had two-way conversations, open-ended questions and comparisons. And at the end, we always want to come back to that time of reflection. We want to reflect on what we've learned and take us back to the L in the chart, that what have we learned for the day. We keep adding to the chart for the entire unit until we're satisfied that everything that we wanted to learn has been discussed. Then we begin a new KWHL chart for the next thematic unit. I love to keep these pages around to share on open house night, and this is where I get feedback, and usually it's very positive about what the parents tell me that their child did outside of class to explore the topics that we've spoke in class. For example, some go to the zoo with their families, or they have a reenactment of stories with their siblings, and some go to the library and they begin to pick out books to find out answers to their own questions. We truly create lifelong learners in a classroom when we're excited about learning and take time to listen to our students. On these next two slides, you'll see the references that I use for this presentation. So take some time and check those out. And now it's time for your questions. If you have any, please go ahead and share those if you haven't already. And then if you find that you have questions after this, please let me know, and I'll be happy to help you find resources and make learning more engaging for your young students. Please don't hesitate to contact me.
Verlinda, that was amazing. I have made it to where you can come online if you have questions or comments for Verlinda, or you can comment in the chat, and we will be around for the next several minutes. And if you need to go, you can go, but we will keep the recording going. And this will be on our YouTube and Google site for early childhood here at Ashford. So thank you so much for coming, and we are open for questions.
Yes, the age really does inspire children to think about where they can find that information. How can I find out more? Has anyone used any of these graphic organizers? Thank you.
Okay, it looks like it's kind of winding down just a little bit. Does anybody want to come online and ask anything or give something they use?
Oh, Teresa, I am not familiar with that one. Would you tell us what those letters mean? Oh, good idea. So Teresa shared that KWLAQ is what do I already know? What do I want to know? What I've learned? Ask what I want to ask, and then what other questions I have. Did I interpret that right? Awesome. So that is correct. Thank you. It's so good to see so many of you that I know and look forward to getting to know better.
Verlinda, would you like to type your email address in the chat box in case somebody wants to collaborate on anything or has questions for you?
I'll be happy to.
I am also putting the YouTube channel here where her presentation will be later today, and it will also be up on our Google site where you had to go to enter this session. We also have our fantastic presenters from our previous years at our early childhood conference and from our previous leadership sessions. We are also going to be start the beginnings of planning our early childhood conference for 2020. If you know of anyone who is interested in presenting, or if you are interested in presenting, please email me or contact me. I am excited to get you on our list. It will be sometime this summer. We just don't have the exact dates yet. So I will also add my email. And if that is it, Verlinda, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate you. We appreciate everyone who came to spend time with us also. And I hope you're ready for March 2020 Leadership Series and watch for that invite. Thank you.